You wrote another story?
Yeah!
All right. She is an underachieving overachiever. She teaches cybersecurity basics at the corporate level by day, writes a never-ending novel by night, and paints and draws on the weekends. Occasionally, she participates in storytelling events all over Chicago. Please put your hands together for Kate Pryor!
I am invited to the happiest place on earth, and I don't want to go. It's mid-October, and my boss called me up one day and she says, guess what? The learning conference is in Orlando this year, and I have the budget to send you. And like Scott said, you know, I do for trainer, instructional designers, and technical team. But I create training materials, and so this learning conference is a big deal. In a previous employer, my then boss had 6 people who wanted to go and 1 ticket. So we drew straws, and I didn't win the draw, unfortunately, but the person that went, she came back and she was like filled with ideas and she's enthusiastic. So she had a meeting and she tried to show us everything that she had learned. And one of the most interesting things that they had that year at the conference was empathy training. Now, empathy was kind of a buzzword at the time because of Brené Brown's book, Daring Greatly. And she had a couple of really good TED Talks on empathy and vulnerability. And we were like talking about this class. We were really excited. We're like, this could really work in our company. But one of my colleagues, Kevin, he was like, empathy training. Empathy training? How are you going to measure empathy? Baron, we need to be 30% more empathetic. And we like talked about this for the rest of the meeting. That's what's so great about this conference. It challenges your beliefs. But back to my boss asking me to go to this conference. It was 2 weeks out, and I already had plans. My son was coming into town. I had theater tickets. I was going to meet some friends for dinner. And my boss could hear my hesitation. And so she said, and the conference is going to be at a Disney resort. Now, I am not a fan of Disney resorts. I've never gone to either the parks or the resorts on purpose. Now I know a lot of people, they like love Disney. Oh my gosh, how can you not have gone to Disney? I know the mouse, the magic, the castle. But for me, I see Disney as like the corporate conglomerate. They're interested in the bottom line. So I have a lot of things to protest about Disney. Their rampant consumerism, their crass commercialism, the garbage that they produce, the impact they have on the Florida ecosystem, their contrary stance on public domain materials, how they've tarnished successful IPs like Marvel and Star Wars. And by the way, you know, in Star Wars, Mandalorian and Andor are really good, but that new trilogy, I'm sorry, Rey is not a Palpatine. She's supposed to be a clone of Anakin's mother, which would have made her Skywalker to begin with. But then no, J.J. Abrams comes along and he writes them into the corner, and now they have to change everything over 6 movies and 2 TV shows. And you know why that's irritating? You know, oh, I had my reasons to hate Disney. But back to this business trip. So I knew that I couldn't say no to this trip. So I canceled everything and I went. And I made the kind of a deal with myself. I'm like, you have to go to Disney, but you don't have to enjoy it. And I was challenged right away by the resort. I walked into Coronado Springs. It's the theme of the resort is the majesty of the American Southwest. And when you walk in, it looks like a very elegant hacienda. I walked in and I thought, wow, this place is really viewed. I'm not going to enjoy this. So I went to check in, and the guy behind the counter is very nice. He hands me 2 key cards with Donald Duck on them. And he says, Miss Pryor, you're going to be in Casita 301. I got a little excited because I don't like Disney parks, but I love Disney animations, particularly the ones that are about childhood trauma. And Encanto is my favorite movie, and Encanto had just come out. Now, if you know, it's about a magical family that that lives in a magical house named Casita. And so I got like excited, I'm like, I'm gonna see Casita. And then I had to kind of stop myself. I'm like, no. I was thinking of the song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, but I was like pulling my bag through the lobby, singing, I don't want to like Disney. Now, the resort, it surrounds a lake. In the middle, there's like 3 bridges going over the lake, and where they meet in the middle is a restaurant called 3 Bridges. And I was pulling my bag along one of the bridges to get to my hotel room. And as I'm walking, I noticed that like there's this music playing, this like Spanish guitar, flamenco music, and it's really catchy, but it never changes, it never fades in or out because there's speakers in all the bridge work. And I'm looking at that thinking, wow, that's no. I get to my hotel room and I open the door, the light and the TV come on at the same time. And the room is designed like the 3 caballeros. Donald Duck, Panchito the chicken, Jose the parrot. And I used to love these as a real little kid. And I'm sitting there looking at that thinking, Disney, you're killing me. I walk over to the TV's on and they've got a big splash screen on it. It tells like bus times to get to the parks, it tells the weather, but also at the top of the screen there's a sign that says, Welcome, Prior Family.
Oh.
This inexplicably makes me sad, but I'm also hungry. So I go to the restaurant. Now, I sit down in the restaurant, it's called 3 Bridges, and the server comes up and they're like, hello. It's the end of World Wine Week, and so our special tonight is a rosé wine flight. Yeah, you know, what, I'm thinking Chicago wine flights. What's a Chicago wine flight? It's like 2 or 3 little glasses with maybe like an ounce of wine in them. Disney, I think she's bringing out a birdcage. She's got this big wrought iron thing, and it's got 4 full glasses of rosé, they're frosty and cold. And I look at her and I say, oh my God, I can't drink that. I said, I gotta go to a conference tomorrow. And the server's like, that's no problem. There's a refrigerator in your room, and it brings in sippy cups for you. And as long as you're in the park, you can drink that anywhere you want. My brain is broken on the words, sippy cups of wine. I just stare at her, I'm like, I can't believe it. And I think to myself, Chicago, you gotta do better. So, about an hour later, after I've had dinner, I'm walking around the park with 3 of the sippy cups of wine. And I want to see the conference center. I want to kind of get like a feel of it layout. So I'm walking into the conference center, and it's nice. It's kind of sumptuous. It's got like Native American art. There's lots of comfortable chairs, places to sit. And I want to like, I'm texting my son. And I'm like saying rude things like, hey, they got the decorator from the Overlook Hotel. I wonder if the twins are around here. You know, where's the elevator of blood? Like trying to like get like, just like things like that. My son texts me back and he says, be nice. And, you know, my son actually went to Disney. He got invited with his high school band. They did a music festival. And when he came back, he was like excited and enthusiastic and just interested in stuff. So, interested in music. And so I'm like, all right, I'm glad I sent you. But he comes back and he says, you're gonna love the Magic Kingdom. So I'm walking more through the center, and there's 2, as I'm walking up, there's 2 Disney staff members, cast members, and they're vacuuming the floor. And I'm like gonna try and just be nondescript and walk around them. And they stop vacuuming and they look at me, and the man comes up and he says, hi, can we help you with something? And I say, oh, I think I'm getting kicked out is what I think. But I'm like, hey, I just want to check out the conference center. Do you mind if I walk around? He said, would you like us to give you a tour? So the man introduces himself as Bruno, and he introduces the woman with him as Mirabelle, because of course they have the main character names of the cast of Encanto. So, but Bruno ends up being a wonderful tour guide. He's walking around. He knows the conference center. He knows what we're doing at the conference the next day. And so he's talking about, you want to go in this room here, that they're going to have really good food in this one. You want to see this one because this guy's really great. And he's like showing me all this stuff. And behind us, Mirabelle is like cleaning. She's like dusting and like arranging things. We get all the way to the conference center. And it's the ballroom. And it's huge. We open the doors. Bruno's really proud of this. He says, this is the largest ballroom in Orlando. We had an aviation conference in here, and we fit F-16 in this room. Wow. There's something about this fact. I can't hold it in anymore. I sob. I'm like, and Bruno looks alarmed. He's like, are you okay? And I'm embarrassed, so I'm like coughing, like coughing to cover it up. Now Mirabelle acts like a fairy godmother. She pulls a chair and a bottle of wine out of thin air. I sit down and I'm coughing, I'm drinking some of the water, and they are with me. It's strange because I feel safe. I feel like I can be who I am. I feel like I can say anything to them. I'm looking at their faces, and I realize, empathy training! They had empathy training. And I have a million questions for them. I'm like, how are they measuring your metrics? I want to ask them everything. What are they doing? But, my brain, when I'm in pain, wants to run. And I know enough about my brain doing this to say, no. This is not the time to ask about how they're getting their metrics for empathy training. So I thank Bruno and Mirabelle, and I go back to my hotel room. So I'm washing my face in my hotel room, and I stop and I look in the mirror, and I'm about to say something really rude about Disney again. And I'm like, oh, stop it. This place is cool, and you know it. There's 3 Caballeros on the wall. There's an F-16 in the ballroom. There is sippy cups of wine in your refrigerator. You're just hanging on to something stupid that your dad said years ago. Truth was, I was. So let me jump back. So I was 7 years old. My father had just dropped my mother off at a store. Sitting in the back seat of the car, we were looking for a parking space. And my father, out of nowhere, says, what's great about our family? We don't plan for anything. And I look at him, I look in the rearview mirror, he's looking in the rearview mirror, but he's not kind of looking at me. And he says, we make no plans. We go where the wind blows. If we wanted to go out to dinner tonight, we could go to Burger King and we'd go. If we wanted to go on vacation, we'd throw a tent in the back of the car and we'd go up north to Copper Harbor. If we wanted to go see something cool, we'd go to Air Zoo and go see some F-16s. We don't make plans. Some people, they scrimp, they save, they sacrifice, and they go to someplace like Disney World. But, they don't have fun. They don't have a good time. They hate it. Not us. Because we are together, and that's all that matters. Now, you can say a lot of things about this moment. I believed this for the longest time. I was like, yeah, we don't need plans. We can just go and find super plans. And it's like, this is not good. You really need empathy. You need vulnerability. You need authenticity. My father was not being authentic in that moment because, as I found out when I had to send my son to Disney, it's expensive to send your kids to Disney. But as I was staring in the mirror, I could say a lot about my parents. I could go off and talk about our history, but really, who needed to show vulnerability, empathy, and authenticity at that moment was me. So the next day, I go to the conference, and I had an amazing time. I learned a lot. I feel really enthused about going back to work. On Tuesday night, I go to Disney World, and it's amazing. I go and see the parade on Main Street. I go see the castle. I go see the fireworks. I see Tinkerbell on a zip line. It's cool. Now, I could have gone one more time to Disney World, but on the last night, I was like, I want to stay at Coronado Springs, because if you know anything about history, springs are usually places where people went to heal. There's mineral water and you bathe in the water. Now, the Coronado Springs, the lake, is spring-fed, but it has alligator warnings. I didn't want to go. But they did have a pool, and I had a bathing suit. So I got in the water and I was laying on my back, I was looking up at the starry Florida night sky. And I was thinking about a song, singing it over and over in my head. It's from my second favorite Disney animated movie about childhood trauma. And the song, the line from the song, let it go. Thank you.